Music with Meaning presents The Prayer Warrior. This is a true story that happened to the Reverend Raymond T. Ritchie. He had an evangelistic church in Houston in Texas, and this story took place whilst he was staying at the home of David Brandt in Miami. The Reverend Ritchie was not the sort of man who questioned the ways of God, no matter what happened.
Well, that certainly was a good meeting tonight, wasn't it, Mary?
Yes, it certainly was. And it's so encouraging to see the place packed with people, even though Reverend Ritchie is away in Miami.
Oh, it's getting late. Shall we go now?
Well, you go ahead. I'm going to stay a little longer. I want to go up into the prayer tower. I'll lock up for you if you like.
You're staying late again, Mary. That's every night this week.
Yes, well, I feel so close to the Lord up there. It's so peaceful and quiet, and well, I need to pray for some people that I've met tonight, that they will come to know God's love as I have. Oh, don't worry about me. I love spending so much time with the Lord.
Well, Mary, you're the best prayer warrior we've got, and I know God will bless you for it. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. Sleep well.
But that night, something happened to the church which was to affect the lives of many, many people.
Wait, man. Wall order. Pump it up there first. Okay, sir. Come on, lads. That's right. Point it at the tower. Does anyone know if there's anybody left inside? Yes. Officer, Mary's still in there. Mary's in there. She's in the prayer tower. Right. You two men come with me. We're going up there. Get the breathing gear. Right, sir. Sir, there's no hope, sir. The fire's too fierce. Oh, come on. We've got to find her. There's still hope. Right, here we are at the top. Sir, I think I see something. Oh, no. There she is. But what's that? What is that?
Hello?
Hello, is that you, Reverend Ritchie?
Why, yes, speaking. Who's that?
It's George Lucas.
Why, hello, George. How are things going?
Well, I'm afraid I have some very bad news.
Bad news? Well, what?
I don't know how to tell you. The church.
What about the church?
The church is burned to the ground.
Burned to the... Was anyone hurt?
Yes. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but Mary was praying in the tower. And she's dead. She was burned to death.
Mary? Burned to death? But... Get behind me, Satan. I won't ask God why. I won't ask God why.
Order. Order in the court. This court is now in session. Judge Samuels presiding.
Now, Fire Officer Williams, am I right in saying that you were officer in charge at the scene of the fire?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Now, in your own words, can you describe to the court exactly what happened when you arrived at the fire?
Well, the building was well alight by the time the first fire engine arrived at the scene. The whole center of the building was completely engulfed in flame, including the tower. We were hindered to some extent by poor water supplies, and we then received a report that a person was still trapped inside. So I asked two of my best men to go in with me, wearing breathing apparatus.
Who reported that there was still someone in the building?
A man from the church told me, Mr. Lucas. He told me that there was a lady up in the tower.
Just one person in the tower? Are you sure? There have been rumors to the contrary.
Well, yes, that is what he said, but...
Go on.
You're not going to like this.
Now, come on, Fire Officer Williams, and remember yonder oath.
Well, when we got to the top of the stairs, we could see the charred remains of the lady in question. But behind her, we saw someone standing behind her.
Someone behind her? Why was this person not mentioned in the report?
Well, when we searched the ruins afterwards, there was no sign of another body. Not one sign. And no one could have survived that blaze without protective clothing.
But you say there was someone standing behind her. Can you describe this person?
Yes, sir. We all saw him. The other two firemen will back up my story. I can describe him to you, but you won't like this either. He was tall, with long hair and a long white robe. And he stood behind her, with his arms outstretched over her as though protecting her from the flames.
Fire Officer Williams, in your opinion, who was this person?
Well, we've no doubt about it, sir. If it wasn't the good Lord himself, then it was his angel. And when the lady died, I don't think she even felt the flames.
At the time, the burning of Reverend Ritchie's church and his prayer warrior seemed like a terrible disaster. But it became a greater testimony to the city of Houston than all of his sermons ever did, because everybody read the story in the papers and knew that the person standing behind her was the Lord. Nothing happens by accident to one of his children, and out of seeming defeat, God gets some of his greatest victories. In The Prayer Warrior, Mary was played by Windy, Mr. Lucas by Paul Michael, the Reverend Ritchie by Michael, the Fire Officer was by Solomon Touchstone, the music was composed by Paul Michael, and The Prayer Warrior was scripted by Rachel Scott from A True Story. Production was by Simon Peter. Music with Meaning presents Crystal and Lamont. Well now, you may believe in life after death, but do you know what you're going to look like in the world to come? Let me tell you a true story on the subject. David Brandt's best buddy, Lamont Haas, was a major in the U.S. Air Force in World War II. He was on a bombing mission in Germany.
Major, the navigator estimates that we should be approaching the target any minute now.
Yes, I see it, Lieutenant. This is your squadron leader, Major Haas. We're going in for the bridge. Okay, here we go, boys. Watch out. Intelligence tells us we can expect heavy artillery.
The ground fire's too heavy. We're not going to make it, Major. Should we pull her up?
Hold it drop the bomb so you're sure you can't miss.
We're hit, Major Hoss. We've been hit.
Nothing serious, Marty. Keep her steady. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Now!
Bombs away! We hit it, Major. We got the bridge.
Okay, let's get out of here. Blue Ridge, this is Haywire. Mission accomplished. No casualties. Coming home. Over.
Haywire, this is Blue Ridge. We're reading you loud and clear. Come on in. Congratulations. Over.
Roger. Over and out.
That was a close one. This is your 20th mission, isn't it, Major Hoss?
Why, yes it is, Marty.
This was only my 3rd. Major, could I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Don't you think the chances of coming back get less and less the more missions you fly?
Well, I guess the thought has crossed my mind.
Aren't you afraid of dying, Major?
No, I think I can honestly say I'm not. Not anymore.
What do you mean, not anymore?
Well, Marty, ever since I was a kid, I believed in the afterlife. My best friend David and his mother taught me so much about the Lord. A couple of years before the war broke out, some people from a Christian college came along and got me all inspired. I remember. I ran home all excited.
Anybody home?
Here, son, in the study.
Hi, Dad. I've got the most exciting news.
Well, you sure seem worked up. Can't you at least take off your jacket and put your books down and sit down?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Turn off the radio and tell me all about it.
Dad, some people from the Christian college came to talk to the seniors at our high school today.
Yeah?
I just felt the Lord calling me to serve Him. I felt it so strong, Dad. I've decided to apply there and go there if they'll have me and become a missionary. What do you think, Dad? Dad, what do you think?
Well, Lamont, first of all, that's a very noble ambition. And you know your mother and I love the Lord, too. And we, of course, want to see you serve Him in some way, but there are a great many different ways. A missionary?
Yes, a missionary.
Do you know what a hard life that is?
I don't care, Dad.
You'll have to give up the fine, comfortable life you've always had. What kind of a future will you be able to promise to your children?
But, Dad...
A doctor. Now, there's a profession.
Oh, Dad, I don't want to be a doctor.
Now, hear me out, Lamont. I'm still your father. I want to make a confession to you, son. I've always lamented that I didn't become a doctor like my father.
Dad, you've told me this.
But I was headstrong like you. Lamont, your grandfather was a doctor, and I should have been a doctor. And that's why I want you to be a doctor, to carry on with the family tradition.
But, Dad, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a missionary.
I'll tell you what. We'll send you away for a year of medical school, and then if you still want to go to that Christian school, why, okay.
Major, the fog is really building up. Visibility's nearly zero.
I see, Lieutenant. It'll protect us from being seen by enemy fighters, at least. We should have a nice, quiet trip home.
Major, did you go to that Christian school?
No, that's what I should have done, Marty, but sad to say I didn't. I did what my dad suggested.
Well, being a doctor, that's a good thing to be, too.
Let me shock you, Marty. That school did more to destroy my faith than anything ever has.
Really?
Really. Medical school is one of the rottenest types of schools there is.
Why is that, Major?
Nothing is sacred. We experimented with everything. Drugs, hypnotism. Why, we even cut up dead bodies.
Oh.
Well, I really drifted away from the Lord. I came back pretty hard, to tell you the truth. Then the war broke out, and I immediately volunteered for the Air Force. And so here I am, a major and head of my own squadron, but I thank the Lord, just before this last mission, I went back to Dave's mother's church in Miami.
You look troubled. What is it?
You know what it is, Dave. You know what's happened to my heart. Where'd I go wrong?
Well, Lamont, I believe you missed the Lord's will when you went to medical school.
Medical school?
Well, be honest, did your faith grow in medical school?
No, it dwindled to practically nothing.
Do you know why the Lord didn't bless it?
Because I was out of his will, but how can I get back now? I'm in the Air Force, Dave. I'm a squadron leader. I'm fighting a war.
I'm sure if you make things right with the Lord that he'll show you a way.
Oh, Lord Jesus, forgive me for failing you. I know you called me into your service, and I said no. If it isn't too late, I want to serve you. I want to make things right with you, Lord. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Lamont, that's what you can do. Just be a witness wherever you are, whether you're in the Air Force or out.
I will, Dave. I will. So, come what may, Marty, my heart is right with the Lord, and I'm ready to go whenever he calls me.
That gives me a lot of peace, Major.
Do you know the Lord, Marty?
Yes, ever since I was 15.
Oh, that's really good. This fog is so thick, I can't even see the rest of the squadron.
I can see something out here to the right, Major.
What is it, Lieutenant?
I can't quite tell. It's coming closer. Oh, no! Major, watch out! Oh, no! Major!
And to top it all off, in the middle of the meeting, I pulled out my makeup, and with the mirror in my left hand like this, and the powder puff in my right, with everyone watching me, mind you, I knocked myself right on the nose with the mirror. I guess God made me so funny, just to show what he could do with someone as ridiculous as I am.
More tea, Virginia?
No, thank you, Edna. I really must be going.
Hello? Yes? Yes, this is Mrs. Haas. I beg your pardon? Are you sure? When?
What is it?
Yes, I see. How did it happen?
Edna, what's going on?
Yes, thank you. I'd appreciate it. Yes, goodbye.
Edna, what is it?
Sit down, Edna, and tell us.
Virginia, Lamont is missing in action. They were flying over France, returning from a bombing mission. One of his own planes accidentally rammed into the cabin of his plane with its wingtip. He was sucked out. It's possible that he might have parachuted to safety.
Well, I'm sure he did. I'm just sure he did.
Well, whatever happens, Edna, we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, so there's no need to worry.
Yes, of course. You're right, Virginia. Anyway, they said they'd phone back as soon as they knew something definite. Until then, please stay here with us, Virginia.
I must wake Edna up. I must tell her. Edna! 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 Are you there?
Yes? Virginia? Come in. What? Did the phone ring? What is it?
No, Edna, now listen. I think the Lord has given me a dream to prepare you for some news that's coming.
News about Lamont?
Yes. I believe that they're going to notify you that Lamont is dead.
Oh, no, that's impossible.
What?
Virginia had a dream. She thinks Lamont is dead.
No. It could never happen. It's impossible. It couldn't happen to him.
Well, let me tell you the dream. I saw this long, stately avenue of trees. beautiful trees of unearthly height. It was such a beautiful scene. And then I saw a beautiful girl with long blonde hair coming down this avenue toward me. Lamont was running up the roadway to greet her, and they embraced. He called her by her name. I think it was Crystal.
Crystal?
Crystal.
Lamont.
Why, it's you. You've grown up. You're so beautiful. Why, you look so happy. Why aren't you grieving like the rest of them?
We see things differently up here.
I'll believe you if you'll answer me 2 questions. About how old was the girl? And was there anything peculiar about her physical build?
I would say that she was in her late 20s. And yes, I did notice something that was rather odd about her, now that I think about it. It seemed like she had a very short neck. Her head just seemed to sit right on top of her shoulders.
Yes, that had to be Crystal.
Who is Crystal?
I never told you about her, Virginia. But she was our first child who died when she was about 10 years of age, about 18 years ago.
That's amazing.
That was one of the funny things about one side of the family. They had very short necks. The head sits right between the shoulders, and that was the way Crystal was built.
Lamont was so happy, Edna. Crystal had been sent to greet him and to be his guide. And arm in arm, they walked up this beautiful roadway into that wonderful place.
We see things differently up here. Above the clouds, things become clear. No need for sorrow or for tears. We see things differently up here. We see things differently up here.
5 of Lamont's crew were also blown out through the hole, but they parachuted to safety. But Lamont was dead, just as David's mother had dreamed, and his body was soon found in France. Wasn't it amazing that David's mother saw Lamont in heaven with Crystal, and that Crystal looked the same age that she would have been if she hadn't have died? You also won't look so different in the next world that people won't be able to recognize you. You'll look like you did before, only better and more beautiful in the prime of life, and never tired or weary or sick anymore.
No need for sorrow or for tears. We see things differently up here.
In Crystal and Lamont, Major Haas was played by Michael, the lieutenant by Paul Michael, the father by Jeremy, the mother by Patience, David by Simon Peter, Virginia by Fiona, and Crystal by Phoebe. The music and song were written by Paul Michael and arranged and produced by Michael and Paul Michael. The song was sung by Phoebe. The drama was produced by Simon and Michael from a script written by Habakkuk from a true story. Crystal and Lamont was brought to you by Music with Meaning.
Down through the years, King
have come and gone, ever change. To lay ruin in the sand, as I watch these hills, the once proud structures of man, and how they all have passed away. Heaven and earth shall pass, only God's words will last. When will we ever learn? God knows we need to learn what His story has tried to say. Got to keep on looking high when things are down. Tomorrow will soon come with new hopes again. All things change, nothing remains the same. All things will pass away. Only love will remain. All things change, nothing remains the same. All things will pass away. Only love will remain.
As we gaze out of the window of our train at the ancient Roman ruins, as we watch history, nothing was ever permanent, sometimes not even one stone left standing upon another. Man's greatest pride is his buildings, but their end is always the same, the wreckage of centuries, giant blocks of useless rock cluttering up the landscape of interest only to the historian and the archaeologist. On our travels, people always ask us,
Hello, young fellow, did you see the side of that building?
And look over there, that place, that stadium, did you see that yet?
Since you've been here, have you had a chance to see all the sights?
and we've come to relish and enjoy replying with an emphatic no. We want to see the living beings, the people, the children, boys, girls, men, women, the human beings. We want to look on the land of the living, not the tombs and rubble of the past. We want to see life and to live. We're not interested in the dead, but the living. We're only interested in you.
A loving look in a young girl's eyes, the hunger in the heart of man, to see, to want, to win, to feel that touch divine is what we are living for. And God knows we need to learn, what His story has tried to say. Got to keep on looking high when things are down, for tomorrow will soon come with new hopes again. All things change, nothing